What's up, YouTube? So here we are again. I got to make this video. I could be wrong, but this is my perspective. This is my opinion. This is my belief on this. What I'm about to talk about. I have somebody in my comments. I think they left 36 comments recently. When I looked at their recent comments, it says there's 36 comments on this channel. They're always comments that are, you know, relating to me or it's something to get me to drop my guard, right? They're relating to me. They're saying good job, They're give me some tips or whatever. And the sock account name, um, well, see, that's where I'm confused because I just got this email, right? It says "Get a Life" is the sock account name. Okay, "Get a Life." Well, um, I've seen the "Get a Life," but who changes their account names so often? Who does that? I don't think normal people, real TIs, people change their name and their account very often. Why would they? They don't have a reason to. They're trying to quell the confusion. They're trying to minimize the confusion factor. So they're not gonna change their account name every other fucking day, right? Because they don't want to make it easy for the perps to call them a liar, and because that's one of their main things. Oh, they delete their account, they delete comments, they have suck accounts. They're a perp, right? So it just seems odd to me that a real TI would change their account name, so often. But I don't know when this was. This says "Get a Life." So whenever I go to, like, if I'm subscribed to them, I guess, but whenever I go to their channel here on YouTube, um, it's only been created, 9 months ago, I think. I don't think they have any videos. Let me look here. Okay, so these are comments. Oops, shit. All right, let me go back to, um, yeah, the "Get a Life." Okay, it says "Get a Life" commented, smashed it. "Get a Life" replied, "Well, if you're interested," so this is the one I want to talk about right here. That's the email that I got, right? And here's what raised my my radar, right? Up until this point, I thought, up until this point, I didn't even cross my mind that this person could be a perp. I just, whatever, liked his comments, and, there was no reason to suspect him was a perp. I had nothing to worry about, right? Until they tried to provide you with some information, right? You drop your guard, right? They name so if you see here, his sock account name is Nerve Eats Dick and Ass, right? Okay. I don't know why it doesn't say "Get a Life" here. Why is that? Is it because he changed his channel name, or is it your channel name and your username are two different things and they show up differently depending on what you're doing, because it showed up as a comment in my email as "Get a Life" left a comment. And when I clicked on this comment, it said "Get a Life." But when you go to it, it says "Nerve Eats Dicks and Ass," right? Nerve eats dicks and ass. Nerve eats dicks and ass. Lots and lots of comments. But this most recent one, right here. Oops. Okay. It says, "Well, if you're interested in who Chief Handler is, he's the state police chief and the brown or bronze Buick that's been stalking your house is literally parked in the state police barracks parking lot. You're welcome." Oh, really? Really? Supposed to thank you for that, right? Now, as far as YouTube goes, who the hell would know on YouTube that there's a brown or gold Buick stalking my house? Who would know that? When was the last time I showed or mentioned any brown or gold Buick stalking me on YouTube? I'll have to look back and see, but I don't think I ever mentioned a a gold or whatever, brown or fucking bronze they used. Buick stalking my house in a long time. Like maybe like over 6 months to a year ago, when I was showing videos of my brother doing this by my house, there was also included in that was also that car that they're talking about. Now they have continued to stalk my house. You know, I see them every day. They still stalk my house here. They drove past twice yesterday in 5 minutes when I was standing out there. What are the odds that this car drives by every time I'm outside, which isn't very often, you know? It's not like it's a coincidence that they just happen to be driving by when I go outside. But who on YouTube would know anything about that? Maybe I missed something. I don't think so, though. I don't think I mentioned anything about that car on YouTube. I'll have to check, like I said, but I don't think I did. So they give themselves away. You see, we can rely on the perps exposing themselves because they're dumb. They're fucking retarded. They're dumb. They're lazy and they're dumb. They don't think about these things. They don't do any research first before they play their little games. And they say stupid stuff. Really stupid stuff. Because I thought everybody knew that, you know, state police are structured differently than your local police departments. You know, local police departments are going to have a chief of police, right? But state police, I'll have to check on this too, but I'm almost positive. I could just be talking out my ass here, but I'm almost positive they have a more of a military style chain of command structure, right? Where they have like lieutenants, you know, and they have captain. Like the captain is the equivalent, like to the chief of police for state police, and they don't have like one but barracks. You know what I mean? They have several all through the state. You know, we have one in Evansburg. It's Troop A. You know, it's the Troop A, and then you have the next closest one is like 30 miles the other direction, and they're spread out all over the place, right? State police barracks. So they don't have. I don't think that they have a chief, a chief, a police chief for the state police. I don't think so. I've never heard of that before. You won't hear it in movies or, you know, that's the first time I've ever heard anybody refer to the state police having a police chief. Okay. But this person's trying to tell me that that car that drives by me, which I don't know how they know that this car stalks my house, but they know. They know that this car stalks my house. They're trying to tell me that it's the state police chief, right? And isn't it funny that I have mentioned several times to several people out loud, a higher volume than normal, how I feel about the state police. You know, I feel like they're not involved. I feel like they're, you know, that's beneath them. They have too much integrity. They're, you know, they're mature. They're kind of elite. They're an elite group of police officers. You know, these small town cops are like, you know, the ones that couldn't hack it. You know, like like the police chief in Hastings, PA. Okay, the Jason Owens, the one that was with Dillhole when he tried to kill me. He's now the chief of police at Hastings. He actually was a state police officer. Yep, he was in the state police. So you don't you don't like go back when you're when you know when you become a member of that elite group of police officers in the state police, you know, the Pennsylvania State Police. Why would you leave the state police to go be a fucking town cop in these shitty little towns? Yeah, he did something wrong. That's the only explanation. He did something wrong and got fired. I can't see a situation where any cop would say, "Nah, I'm just going to go be a town cop, make way less money, you know, have way way less status, you know." But those cops that can hack it in the state police, they're perfect to be fucking the head of these small towns, right? Because they got to be do something bad, you know, or wrong, right? And there you go. They fit right in, right? Because they're already corrupt, you know, they're already fuck ups. They're going to fit right in with all the other fuck ups. So that's Jason Owens in Hastings. He's the chief of police of Hastings right now. He was a state police officer. Not anymore. Dioho actually said something to me one time about possibly going to be a state police officer. Um, he's really, really serious about his job, and he takes his job much more serious than all these other fucking idiots. That's why he was gung ho, trying to make a name for himself and prove himself, but he didn't fit in real well with these town cops, right? Because they're as corrupt as they are. They call him Super Trooper behind his back, you know. They make fun of him because he does his job. He tries to do it right. But even Dillhole makes mistakes, so whatever he did, I don't know. I think he fucked up royally and they put him up to that. I believe that they sicked him on me over something they had over his head. They had some piece of information they have on him, and they're using it over. They're exploiting that, and they're blackmailing his ass to come after me. So that's what I believe they did with Dillhole. Um, and then whenever just little old fucking John Hofer, targeted Patton, exposes his ass and blows the whole thing up. They can't have it come back on them, so they use him as a scapegoat, and they blamed everything on him. Oh, Dillhole did it. That fucking Super Trooper did it. Blame it on him, right? Because Officer Jason Owens, the chief of police of Hastings, was very quiet. He was in the background whenever they broke into my apartment. Um, and whenever I was outside, it was Jason Owens that was telling Dillhole what to do. He was explaining it to him like that was Dill's first day on the job or something. They get me outside and then realize they fucked up. And he's like, "Well, what can I do to him now?" And Jason Owens had to explain to him what happens now, how the process works. And he was very quiet, very, very quiet. He's the one that's standing at my doorway trying to block my son from coming out because he's recording. He walks outside my door, and that's the cop that blocks his way and says, "Do you have anybody to get you, buddy? Do you have anybody to get you?" Yeah, that would be corrupt piece of shit. Chief of Police of Hastings, Jason Owens, who couldn't hack it in the state police. Okay, so it's funny. They want me to distrust. They don't want me to have the belief that the state police aren't involved. Because I could go to the state police and I could report this shit to the state police, and they will probably take me seriously and they will probably investigate it, and they know that, right? They know that. So that's a liability, that's a risk. So they got to try to they're not going to, like he said, it didn't work. The stalking and harassing didn't work, so they're not going to do that anymore. They regrouped and they had to come up with a new plan, right? So, what's their new plan? Well, for starters, get me to distrust the state police, right? They're coming back to the online shit. Relate to me, try to get in closer to me. You know what I mean? So I told him, I sent him a reply to this. I said, I got to give you credit. It was a clever try. It was a very clever try. But you tried too hard. You gave yourself away. I didn't figure it out. You told on yourself, dude. Up until this one comment, I didn't even cross my mind that you were a perp. But there's just a couple little details in this one comment that convinced me. One comment, you gave yourself away in one fucking comment, dude. You got to think about stuff. You mentioned about the car, right? I never mentioned anything on my YouTube about that fucking car recently. So boom, you got it wrong when you said chief of police for the state police. Boom, got that wrong. And third, I'm sorry, but I'm already seasoned enough that I'm not going to believe a piece of information that would hold that much value if it's true. That would be a valuable piece of information if it was true. I'm not going to believe something like that from somebody who's anonymous, somebody who's on my channel, you know, completely anonymous. So now you also told me that you're local. You also gave yourself away there. You told me that you're local. So you're a local perp. Okay? So who are you? Who are you? Nerve eats dicks and ass. Who are you? Get a life. I mean, if you can provide me that, I might believe you. I might actually believe what you're telling me. But I bet you won't do that. I bet you can't. You can't. You can't provide me some kind of information as a gesture of good faith, and trust me. and give me something, some kind of identifying information about yourself, right? Yeah, I guarantee you're not going to be able to do that. And therefore, you're a perp. I mean, come on, dude. It's so fucking obvious. It's just so sad, though, that you have this many people that are using their brains, they're putting their heads together, they're trying to come up with different things to do, and they just can't do anything to fucking, their shit doesn't work on fucking, what they believe to be a fucking stupid drug addict thief, John Hofer, right? Targeted Patton. Targeted Patton's a big pain in their ass, right? Making them all look like fucking retards. Well, I have a newsflash for you. This doesn't end well for you. You keep going. You will not succeed in making me look like a retard. I promise. You won't succeed at that. You've done nothing but you've let Pandora out of the box. You've created a monster. I am your creation. Okay? And now you have to, you gotta go, you gotta fix your own problem that you created. That would be me. Because I am now devoted to exposing this shit, especially my local perps. I won't stop until until you motherfuckers are completely exposed, eradicated, or it ends. It just stops, and you guys don't ever fucking do this shit again to anybody. Now, since I doubt that that's going to be the case, that's what I'm trying to tell you. This does not end well for you fuckers. Doesn't end well. I promise you that. Did you see the news, the press release, the press conference that the DOJ put out the other day? Did you see that? Did you see, the fucking, you guys are, you guys are on the hot plate. You guys are on thin ice. Did you see? They're coming after you. You guys, days are numbered. There's very, very few fucking police departments that are going to make it through this unscathed, you know? Because from my point of view, from my observations, you're all fucking corrupt. All of you. So now you're gonna have the DOJ investigating you guys, and they're gonna look into every little nook and cranny, everything you've done. They're gonna be looking into every incident that isn't fucking clean as a whistle. They're gonna be looking into all of it to see if your practices are constitutional, if they don't violate people's civil rights. They're going to be looking into those cases. So I'm pretty sure that they're going to be looking specifically at what my situation, what's been done to me by different local police departments and specifically specific officers. Because let's face it, there's only fucking 3 or 4 of you around here, local police officers, right? Because it's a shit deal. You guys couldn't hack it anywhere else, so you're going to work for fucking $10 an hour being a fucking part-time town cop for a town with 1,600 people in it. And even at that, you can't even get full-time hours and shit because they just don't need you. We really don't need fucking cops around here. I mean, yes, of course, there's crime everywhere, but the amount of crime here compared to the people, the crime per capita here is so low that they have to manufacture crimes. They have to create crimes. They have to actually, they have to manufacture a purpose for their job, for their own job. They have to create the need for their own job. And what are they going to do if they determine that they don't need them, right? What are they going to do? They can't do anything else. That's why they're a fucking town cop. Can't go back to the state police, Jason Owens. What are you going to do then? You're going to be a constable? Give your badge and your gun away, and then all you get is a pair of handcuffs, and you could be the Pennsylvania State Constable. You'll have like a soft patch on your arm. No more badge number. No more. They strip your arresting authority away. You won't have those arresting powers anymore. No, the piece of paper that you have does. That's why constables have to go get the warrants. They have to go obtain the warrants. Then they have arresting power along with a piece of paper. But they just can't just police people. They're constables. It's equivalent of somebody like a document server. Somebody who serves people documents. That's pretty much what a constable does. That's it. But they deal with the type of people they deal with and related to unpaid fines and shit. That's why they put a little fucking, a little iron-on badge on their arm and they carry handcuffs, and they have to take the training and shit. So they think they have it in their head that, they're Batman, right? I'm Batman. And they all wear black. They wear all black. They're in the Blue Line Gang, you know, but they're on the low, low level of the Blue Line Gang. They haven't figured it out yet that they're the guys who get scapegoated. They're the ones that get picked on by the rest of them when they're not around. It's no different than high school. You're still getting picked on, but it's but it's behind your back, at your job, and it's like it's even worse than when you're in high school and to your face because it's behind your back and you don't even know it. And they're like that's man, it's sad and pathetic, right? So what do? You come after somebody who you think that you can actually be successful over, somebody who you think you think you're superior to. Well, what happens? Don't underestimate the little guy, When you underestimate somebody, you get, karma, the universe, whatever will show you, will prove that you made a mistake. That, it will make sure that you learn that lesson. You don't underestimate the little guy. I don't threaten. I don't talk tough. I don't do that shit. But that doesn't mean that I'm not. That doesn't mean that I'm not capable. It's the quiet ones, the ones that never threaten anybody, the ones that don't get tough. They're the ones that you got to watch out for. Uh, ask anybody. But the big fucking big Timmy Tough Nuts that runs their mouth to everybody and uses intimidation and shit, and they act tough and they're gonna kick your ass and everything else. Those ones usually don't have to worry about that much. They showed their cards. You'd have nothing else to worry about. But the ones that don't, you know, they don't demonstrate. They don't put it on fucking demonstration for everybody to see. You know what they're capable of, their level of intelligence or knowledge. They're, that's the ones that you got to worry about. You don't know what you're up against, and I bet you it's scary not knowing, and then that fear of failing when you come against somebody like that because they think you got made fun of before. Just wait. Just wait till Targeted Patton makes you look like a retard. You really fucking get made fun of then. I mean, look at Dillhole. He, according to him, he told me that he got fired from the federal, county, and state prisons. He can no longer work for the Bureau of Prisons at all. That should have been enough right there. But no, then he's going to go to policing, right? And I was told that he got fired from his previous policing job before Patton. Then he comes to Patton, gets fired from Patton. Then he goes to Northern Cambria, and I just recently heard he got fired from Northern Cambria. And I personally know of a lawsuit that he had against him that it was undisclosed, so it was only in the paper, but that was it. You didn't see it on the news. It wasn't a big deal. He broke somebody's nose, and I believe he put him in the hospital because they were recording from a public space, from a public street. They were recording something with their phone from a public street. He tried to stop them, and they knew the law, and they did it. They did it anyway, and he fucking attacked them and beat them up. And the other cop that was there that saw it, he's just as guilty. So the lawsuit was against him and the other cop. Dillhole just came to assist. It was actually took place in Northern Cambria when he was a Patton police officer. He went over there to assist a call, and the Northern Cambria officer stood by him and let this idiot fucking assault this dude and break his nose and shit. Like, and they arrested him. They arrested the guy. So the guy filed a lawsuit, and he settled for an undisclosed amount. But there's Dillhole. He didn't even lose his job over that. Well, I mean, he could have. That could be why he lost his job. I don't know. I was told that he got fired because he shit himself. And the circumstances surrounding that, I actually believe it, the story, 100%. I think that is the truth, actually, that he got fired for shitting himself. Not particularly. He got fired because he shit his pants. Then he went home to change his uniform and come back. So he got fired for, leaving his duty station while he's on duty. He left his post. So that would be why they fired him. But it's you. I mean, you can't leave that part out. I mean, literally, he fucking got fired for shitting his pants, shitting himself. You can't make this shit up. No pun intended. But yeah, I just thought it was important to come on here real quick and show this nerd eats dicks and ass. And I'm calling perp. I'm calling bullshit on you, buddy. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, I could be wrong, but I doubt it. So be good or be good at it. Peace.